Last Stand, Matt and Chris here with you. I'm back from vacation, another 2 weeks off. We did the one show in between after a 2-week hiatus, but now we're with you, like it or not, probably till at least winter, whenever the next time I can escape this place. But good to be back. Chris, how's things going?
Hey, Matt, not too bad. Did you knock off the rust? I know you come back. Did you do radio on Tuesday, right?
Radio all day Tuesday, yeah. Podcast last night. Oh, yeah. Got me a good 5-hour work day in yesterday when I was off work. So
I haven't been behind a microphone in, God, it's been at least...
Since before you went to Ocean City, probably.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think it was on a podcast. So, it feels good, and pretty impressive all the renovations they're doing in the studio and down the hall.
Yes, that's awesome. Company's doing an incredible job. Our WVOY studio that we've been using the last few days is really awesome, and then our WKKX one that we usually are in is going to be state of the art. It's already a huge upgrade. Job's loving it. Working the board and the microphones, everything sounds so nice and clean now.
When did they start?
They've been working on this for months, over a month. So. Yeah, it was way before I even went to Ocean City the first time. So yeah, they're winding down.
That's awesome.
So
it's cool.
It's great to see them getting close to finishing. I'm sure Kayleen and Lola are pretty happy about that. So good stuff ahead. Be sure to check our show out if you haven't. Mondays from 2 to 3, and then noon to 3 on Tuesday and Thursday. That's on WKKX. You can go to the watchdognetwork.com and listen to the stream if you're not in the listening area, but 1600. And honestly, I should know the AM FMs, but now I'm so reliant on streaming. You don't have to call those letters out all the time. And there's actually 4 different stations that we're on. So anyway, tune in, Watchdog Network. You can find all that stuff out, the actual radio stations and the stream if you so choose. Big show coming up for you today. Here on Bettor's Last Stand, we put the bow on the NHL and NBA seasons. Yeah. One of them I'm happy about. The other one, I ended up being happy about it because it's just the series wasn't very good. So we're going to talk about that, talk a little bit about these football leagues, USFL's last week of the regular season. They get ready for their playoffs next week, and the CFL in week 2, which I actually enjoy the CFL. So I didn't watch much last week. But it's week 2, and I'll start to get into that. And I want to get Chris's opinions on some of these NFL offseason things that are going on. We'll touch on baseball, a little bit of college baseball. Just mention some of the College World Series stuff. We talked about it with Jarrett on the radio yesterday. U.S. Open golf this week. You'll still be able to get in any of the picks that we give you on Friday morning. It's live golf betting is still a really good value, so you can actually probably get maybe some better value if the guys that we give you didn't play very well on Thursday. They might be better prices on Friday, so we'll shoot for that. And then Sam, the soon-to-be Uncle Sam, he's on standby right now. He'll be joining us in the third segment of the program for talking about the Formula One race, the Canadian Grand Prix up in Montreal, and the IndyCar race. NASCAR is off this week, so no NASCAR board. Champ will be upset about that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did see that on the schedule Sunday. We got a week off.
Yeah, a week off, and then it switches over to NBC coverage for the rest of the year. So NASCAR, we had a nice winner last week. If you followed our picks on Twitter, BLS _ PRP, I think it is. But you can find it on the Pine Room Studios. Now, we switched it, or Jubb decided to switch it. It's no longer at the Pine Room Podcast. It's at the Pine Room Studios now. So our social media, be looking for all that stuff. We'll give out the finalized picks. I'll have all the U.S. Open picks posted for the golf this week. Hopefully Coach is down at Kegler's. We got an event for the beer. They had the beer unveiling at Generations on Saturday, and they're doing another one on next Friday down at Kegler's.
Did he go down there today?
He went down there today to meet with the guy from Kegler's. So.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah. So Coach will have the details. So that's next Friday, the 23rd. Pine Room Lager. If you haven't had it, give it a try. I haven't even had it yet. I stopped somewhere to get it yesterday, and they didn't have any more of it. So I don't know if they sold out or never had it to begin with. But anyway, I've only been back for about closing it off 48 hours. So
I think you'll like it.
I'm sure I will. I'm not that picky when it comes to beer, to be honest with you. Anyway,
because when we did the beer launch, and I started on the drafts, the 16 ounce,
right,
and they tasted fine. But eventually, I switched over to the Pine Room Lager cans, the 16. I just prefer cans better, but either way, it was good. It was a rousing success from what I understand.
Yeah.
All the beer that they sold.
Oh, good. I'm glad someone's benefiting from it. Hopefully someday we see the proceeds.
Yes.
But,
yes. But it was fun. The giveaways, I'm sure you guys talked about it, but the giveaways were a lot of fun, and people got some nice stuff.
Yeah.
Beer glasses,
look cool.
hats,
yeah,
shirts
saw,
and whatnot.
saw cousin Nate had his big Timber hat on when he visited Notre Dame again yesterday. So it's getting close to signing with the Irish, I think. So let's just hope so. Let's keep our fingers crossed that I don't have to wear. This is not Ohio State. I have on right here.
We did have a laugh, but not at your expense. But we were like,
should have been at my expense.
What happens if Nate goes to Ohio State? And then what's Matt do? He just root for Nate, but not Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, I hope your quarterback gets paralyzed, but I hope you get. No, I don't know. I guess I have to root for him. God, I hope he doesn't. I hope it doesn't happen. But hopefully he just goes to Notre Dame.
Yeah, I would like to see that. It was impressive. Just the process of this recruiting. I'm talking to Nate and his dad Brian. It's like, but man, that's like a whirlwind. I mean, the previous week before they came into town, they were down south. I went Georgia. Yeah. Clemson.
You go Georgia, Clemson,
Auburn.
Then Georgia, Clemson, Auburn, and then you come back this way. You go Ohio State, Michigan, and then back to Notre Dame again.
That was his second visit there, right?
Yeah,
that's the only school he's gone to twice.
I think so. So that's why the betting odds say that's the favorite.
Well, his father told me, and I was being respectful. I didn't press him like, "Hey, where are you going to go?" Even when I talked to Nate, but Brian, his dad, Nate's dad, seems to think that Nate knows where he wants to go.
I think
but he hasn't said anything to anybody. So
I'd say it's probably Notre Dame then. If he's going there 2 times, it looks pretty likely. But
I mean, I know he's only a sophomore or going to be a junior in high school, but Notre Dame puts a lot of those tight ends in the pros. I mean, I know it's way early, but
they have. I told him. I said, you want to go to a tight end school? Go to Miami. They got Hall of Fame tight ends coming out of Miami. Too. I don't know. Notre Dame's, they have been good, but I don't know if any of their guys been good in the pros. It's tough to think about. I mean, they've been good in college.
Rudolph.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't been bad, but it's weird. You got Georgia now is just loaded with tight ends. They're putting guys in there each year now. That probably going to be some good ones. But wherever he goes, hopefully he just makes a statement and everybody knows his name. So
is he taking a couple weeks off? Do you know? I mean, what's that for this week?
I don't know. I didn't talk. Obviously, I wasn't there to talk to him, so no, I do not know the plan. So hopefully he'll make the announcement on the Pine Room podcast. We hope.
Yeah, but Mark was telling me about that.
Well, I mean, he said Mark's going to pressure him into doing it anyway, even if he doesn't want to. But
Mark will fly
once he said that the one time, Coach ain't going to forget that. So anyway, we hope he does. That'll be cool. But I don't know how many people even care about it, but we do. So anyway, best of luck to Nate. We'll talk more about that later.
Good luck.
Want to thank one of our new sponsors, IC Cabs.
Yes.
Get on board with them. 304-232-1313 if you're all fucked up at the bar. Or say you had a bad day at work, you went out to Generations, you lost your car in a bad bet, like you wagered your car and lost it, call IC Cab.
Right.
304-232-1313.
Or if you won some big money and you were out at Generations drinking the Pine Room Lager.
Right.
And you had one too many, call IC Cab.
Yeah, you had 5 too many, or 7 too many. Whatever happened, your wife left you and she took the car and left with her boyfriend to go to Arkansas. You can still get a ride home,
right? And now you could determine that one of 2 ways, though: drowning your sorrows or celebrating.
Yeah,
she left
probably celebrating. And I'm sure they would stop by and pick up a streetwalker with you too. So
yes,
maybe for an extra couple $1 fare. But Phil Savaggio's group will take good care of you. And it's nice to see those cabs out there on the corners all the time. It was always impossible to get a cab in this town. Not that I ever did that, but
is Phil? Is that not buddies? But does Cuckoo know that guy?
Yeah, they were former teammates in Abby's
right?
league.
Okay, that's what I thought.
They won the league one year. So. Yeah. And Phil said it was all George, and George said it was all George. So, so no matter if Phil picked every one of them games, George was taking credit for it. So that's for sure.
Unless they finished last, and of course it was Phil's fault.
Then it was Phil's fault. So. Anyway, go see Phil and his buddies at IC Cabs. They're always looking for drivers. If you're a guy that can't sleep and you like to be out at night and you're looking for some extra income, get on there. 304-232-1313. Call them. Set up an interview. They'll probably make you parallel park between 2 cones or something neat like that. So hopefully we'll do some more stuff. We got some commercial ideas to do for IC Cabs.
Are they going to have to how to navigate the roads of Wheeling.
Yeah, well, that's dangerous in itself. Starting a cab company in this town right now is a risky proposition. I mean, your turnover on the wheels and damaged wheels and tires are going to be...
They should be putting truck tires on these cars, like heavy duty ones.
Hopefully they got a good attorney. They can sue the city for some of the damages. But anyway, check out IC Cabs next time you're wasted or high or whatever the hell's going on in your life. Just jump on the phone, give them a call. They'll set up arrangements. So if you know you're going to be just getting barreled up on Friday, book your cab on Tuesday.
They must be pretty accommodating. That's
so it sounds like, and I think they range over across the river into Ohio too. It sounds like too. So they may have a depot over in Bridgeport, or they bought up the company that was running over there. So anyway, best of luck to them. You'll see plenty more stuff about them on our show. As I mentioned, the Keglers thing going on next week. Pine Room Lager is out in stores. There's 90 million stores that have it right now, except for the one that I went to yesterday. But anyway, get your lager, drink up, and then call IC Cab after you drink up. Let me see. I got a text here from Jub. Okay, we're good to go, Jub.
And if you do, also, if they do have it, they should call in and let you know.
Yeah,
on the show or.
Yeah, if you've had the lager, you can
text.
Contact at thepineroompodcast.com and 304-214-1600. We'll eventually be back in service, but we'll give you the text line and things like that because we actually can't really take calls in the new studio as they're setting it up. But anyway, more to come with all that stuff. Lots of good things happening. All right, Chris, so let's start with the news of the day. Yesterday, the sad passing of your buddy Stan Savern, or that was actually 2 nights ago. So, a lot of tributes to him yesterday on the radio. I heard a lot of good things about it. I heard they played the final episode of Sports Beat on AT&T Sportsnet last night, which I didn't see that. I would have liked to. But
well, I was when Coach and I had bocce last night. When we got done, went into the bar, and they had, the pregame on, but there was a rain delay, so they were showing that. And I knew he had been sick, but I didn't know how close he was to... he
was doing radio appearances as recent as 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but
then I heard he was out for some of them last week, and then sure enough, he's dead.
Did you say you heard him on Madden? Or you said Madden said he couldn't make it? And
Madden said he couldn't make it.
It sounded bad, like
no, Madden didn't sound like. But the last time that I heard him, he didn't sound very good.
Right,
and he had sounded just feeble and just not very good. So
yeah, he was the voice of Pittsburgh, if you ask me, as far as sports. I mean, he was.
Now I like that too, that he didn't always kiss everybody's ass, which is a good thing.
No,
he I got no use for people like that. I don't.
No, and he'd make him accountable. I mean, if he had to beat on somebody, he would.
It's good. That's good. He will be missed definitely. And then other big news, which really isn't big news, but Jason Spezza joins the Penguins front office today.
I saw that. I was saying, did he win a Stanley Cup with Dallas?
Yeah, I don't think.
Did he play for Dallas?
Yeah, but that was real late in his career. He played for Ottawa early. Right. No, because Dallas didn't win one recently. They haven't won since they beat Mike Modano. Still played for them.
Like 2002.
Yeah, like they beat Dominic Hasek in Buffalo. I think.
Okay, all right.
But no, he wasn't on the teams. Okay. No, he played, but he always did torment the Penguins. He played good against them when he played for Ottawa. Almost as bad as Matt Sundin for the. Maple Leafs. So they, anyway, I don't know about this whole Toronto thing. Everybody's kissing this Dubas's ass, but I don't know. The guy who signs Matt Murray is a question to me because I mean, maybe he's just taking a chance on him, but I don't know.
Well, fortunately for him, he's got very small shoes to fill with.
He does. But I hope he just doesn't stand pat and just let these old fuckers ride it out. And they got to revamp they got to get rid of some of this dead weight they have. Yes. So hopefully he shakes it up. I hope they don't bring Jari back because that'll be a huge mistake. So we'll see.
Well, I had to laugh because I was reading an article. It might have been DK's, but some of the comments, and they said, Zucker still wants to come back. He loves Pittsburgh.
I don't doubt that, but I mean, he's going to have to take a discounted rate because they can't afford to keep him.
But I know, but they said he probably wouldn't. Not whether or not he would, I don't know, nor do I care. But saw on the comments like, that's the Penguins. They get along.
I mean, Brian Rust took less money last year than he could have got. Right. I mean, and he didn't have a great season by any means.
He did 5 fucking year contract at like enough. I mean,
thing about Brian Rust is though the only thing good about him is that he plays up and down the lineup. He can play the fourth line or the first line.
He probably should be on the third line. But
he should. But I mean, finding a centerman on that line last year was impossible. Their problem started at the top, and they got all those bad contracts. And I'm not going to blame Rust solely for that. I mean, they did get him at a cheaper rate than he would have got on the regular, from another team. So, and he can kill penalties. So I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of contracts they're going to regret. Jeff Carter most of all, and.
But just the contract that must have been just he was Hextall was buddies with Carter from the Philadelphia days, and I think even L.A. to give him that contract, extending him 2 years and a no trade.
Yeah. I think it was honestly. It wouldn't surprise me if that was a Trojan horse move there. That he just came and destroyed the Penguins on purpose.
A lot of people say that.
I mean, I couldn't put it past it. Sure didn't seem he didn't do much to hide it. I mean, if he was really that bad, I mean, he didn't seem to do that bad in the other places he was at. But anyway, hockey wrapped up last night with the Golden Knights 18-1 preseason to win the cup. I was not on them at all. I thought they'd lose the first round to Winnipeg, but it shows you when you get a superstar like Eichel within a team that has a lot of depth, it can put them over the top. They got some unforeseen goaltending, and they put it all together, and they played really well, and Florida ran out of steam, so hats off to them. They went as far as they possibly could. They just didn't have anything left. And
no, they didn't. And for a number 8 seed, they really shouldn't even. I mean, the Penguins would have taken care of business.
Yeah, no, I mean, they shouldn't even have got in, but they were just 1 year removed from the President's Trophy. Yeah. So I mean, they had talent. Kachuk. I mean, the injuries of some of those guys. It's not as bad as the NBA, but like. The day after the season's over, now you find out all these dudes. Kachuk's got a broken sternum. He can't even bend over to put his pants on, and can't tie his skates. Playing hockey with a broken sternum. Can you imagine how long an NBA player would be out for that?
We say that.
Can you imagine how long? No. I mean,
it'd be indefinitely.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be longer than Zion Williamson, whose only injury is he's fat. But anyway, hats off to all those guys. I'm sure they're all ready for some time off.
Yes.
So I heard that the Golden Knights come rolling into a party at one of the hotels last night at like 4 a.m. So, I mean, it must have been a wild night in Vegas. A really wild night.
Our boy got his 3rd Stanley Cup.
Yeah, Phil
Kessel.
Yeah, and he took a shot at Toronto afterwards, which was pretty cool. So,
did he?
He said... He said something like, well, they told me when I was in Toronto that I'd never win a Stanley Cup. He said, well, I've won 3.
Yeah, good for him. And, he was such an important part of those last 2 Penguins.
Should have probably won the Conn Smythe for 1 year.
He definitely should have. But I saw that he said it was special because he gets to celebrate it with his daughter. Yep. And I don't know if he's married, but his girlfriend or whatever, of course, smoking hot, But he I guess he said this year at the celebrations and the parades and everything, he's going to try not to puke this time.
Oh,
he said so. He must
grown up a little bit.
Yeah. So good for him. I like Phil Kessel and
me too. He's American too.
Yes,
so
he is.
Good for him. Congrats to the Golden Knights. Denver Nuggets win the first NBA title in their franchise history. The best player in the world took him to the promised land, and maybe some more good things ahead for Denver. I'm still feel like it was a weak NBA playoffs. I didn't think a lot of the teams were very good, and Denver by far was the best team. They really were, and they were a team with. And it also proved to me that you don't need to title chase like LeBron and even Kevin Durant. Stay with the team you're. And let them build around you and tip your cap to Giannis, the last guy that did that. He didn't leave Milwaukee. He signed with them again, and hopefully the Nuggets will keep Joker for the rest of his career. And those guys just stay there. That's a great thing to see, that you have a Eastern Conference team with an all-time great player who stayed in a small market, and then you got Denver with the title now, and both of them now have won titles. And it proves, don't be like LeBron and go out there and try to go. You can't win alone, so you got to go find and team up with guys. The three-headed monster star thing isn't what all it's cracked up to be. So,
and and another great thing about Joker, which this is, he's such an unassuming guy. All he wants to do is win.
Correct.
We saw it after they eliminated the Lakers, and then LeBron makes it about himself.
Sure, of course.
Joker, you've seen, he just said, I just want to go home. He doesn't even really want to go to that parade.
No.
He just wants to win, and it's not about him, and it's refreshing.
It is. That's a likable team for the most part.
And they do play well as a team. I watched.
But when your best player is a pass-first guy who can do all the other. I mean, he can score, he can obviously rebound, and then his passing is just that of a guard. That's a great thing to build your team around a guy like that. It's awesome
a pass-first guy that averages, 28?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I'd love now if Milwaukee could get their act together and get the role players around Giannis a little bit better.
Yes.
I mean, you could see Denver and Milwaukee being. It'd be awesome if they met in the finals for 3 straight years or something. I like to see these small market teams do well, and these guys that don't leave for the promised land of their buddies. I mean, how many times has that worked? I mean, if LeBron doesn't go there with pretty mature guys like Wade and Bosh, he would never have won in Miami. I mean, and that was Pat Riley. And I love, too, and again, hats off to the Heat for making it that far. They had a rough season, 8 seed, play their way through, beat better teams than them the whole time, undermanned, guys that were undrafted all over their roster. Spoelstra
they had a lot of
awesome
no-name guys.
Yeah, tons of them. 7 undrafted guys. Spoelstra does amazing again, and I always thought it was telling when LeBron was going to pull his crybaby thing and go back to Cleveland is when Pat Riley, when he told Pat Riley that they should fire Spoelstra, and Pat Riley said, "Get the fuck out of my office."
Yeah.
And he packed up, went to Cleveland, and it just shows you LeBron is all about him. He doesn't care about he has an all-time great coach there on that in that franchise, the Heat, and he's trying to run him out. And again, Pat Riley was winning in basketball games as a coach before LeBron was even born.
Yeah.
So that just shows you the lack of respect from a guy like him and why he disgusts me so much.
He's bigger than the game in his mind. He's bigger than the owner, the GM, the coach.
Right.
And
it's great to see that the Heat get rid of that loser. They bring in Jimmy Butler, who's a winner by trade. He's a tough guy to deal with, but I mean, I love him. I think he's great, and I love that he holds his teammates accountable. It's great to see. LeBron would never do that. He just buries his team, in the media after the game. He'll just run them over. Doesn't ever stick up for his teammates. I just can't say enough bad things about him. No, and it's just nice to see a team win with some likable players.
And
for once.
And getting back to Pat Riley real quick, they're talking about just the culture that he builds down there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an all-time great. I mean, he played in the NBA years ago, coached GM with he coached the Knicks too, didn't he? They never won it with the Knicks. But,
Lakers,
I mean, what a great guy, and that's a hell of an organization. They were just talking about how just the organization structure and the culture down there. So even though being undermanned and everything, I guess it shouldn't come as a surprise, just the way that's all set up.
And they'll be back. They'll get a little bit of an upgrade on their roster, I'm sure, and be back in the mix in the Eastern Conference. Because, I mean, the Eastern Conference, other than Milwaukee, I mean, I don't see the Celtics doing anything. I'm sorry. After their performance this season, I can't count on Missoula and those guys. No way. And the Sixers, no chance in the world. If they keep those two stiffs, Harden and Embiid, they'll never win. Those guys aren't winners. You can just see the way they play. They're not winners.
I was going to mention that when you were talking about Jokic a little bit ago. Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid's a good player.
Yeah, he's a physical talent, absolutely.
But he's a stat compiler, if
you
ask me.
He is.
And he's not a winner.
Not tough.
The way Jokic is.
No, he's not. And it shows Jimmy Butler was, Philadelphia ran him out. They could have had him. And they chose Harden over him.
Loser.
A loser. Because Jimmy Butler was mean to the guys at practice. And he said, they didn't take it serious enough and things like that. It's I don't know. These NBA guys are tough. I mean, they really are. It's nice to see some likable teams out there, though. So hopefully Denver and Milwaukee will match up in the finals next year. Or the Heat again. I'll take the Heat. I got a lot of respect for them.
As long as none of the teams involved LeBron.
Yeah, no, that goes without saying. I mean, that's Oh, anyway, it's in the books. Yep. I'm glad it's behind us. I don't have to deal with it till Halloween. Be a little like Fright Night.
Rough week for South Florida fans.
Yeah, I mean they had a great run, but it just ended. It ended prematurely a little bit. A few games too soon for them.
And all the fans of both of those teams, they got some extended games, especially when they weren't even expected to make the playoffs or go that far. So they both had great runs. So.
They did. So, all right, let's move on a little bit. USFL, as I said, is in Week 10. We go to the playoffs next week. I actually got to be quite honest. I have not watched hardly any of these games while I was gone. There was always something better to watch. But Birmingham leading the South Division is 7-2. They've already clinched a playoff spot entering the final week. Philadelphia leads the Northern Division at 4-5. Now, all the teams in the South Division have records over 500, and every team in the North is under 500, which is interesting. Top 2 teams in each division make it. It's kind of unfair, to be honest. So it's literally coming down to only Birmingham is in. So you got 3 spots up for grabs. You got a matchup of Pittsburgh and New Jersey, 2, 3, and 6 teams, which are going to need some help. So the winner of that game will need some help. Philadelphia, as I said, 4-5 against the 3-6 Michigan Panthers. So you have 4-5 and 3 teams at 3-6 in that division. So
it's kind of reminiscent of the XFL. That team that ended up winning it,
right? Was
they were like 4-6?
Yeah, they were under 500. Yeah, but they did play well at the end of the year. So maybe that's something that if you're playing your best football. I have a few plays that I kind of like this week. I like New Jersey a little bit against Pittsburgh, laying the 3.5. That's on a Saturday afternoon kickoff, and I like that game under. Pittsburgh's offense is about as bad as their NFL team's offense. Go Kenny. Kenny will bring them to a promised land, though, so get ready for that here soon. And then in the second game...
Pickett.
Pickett.
His SUV got stolen.
Yeah, Kenny's a stud. Birmingham, Memphis, over 44. I like that on Saturday as well. And then on Sunday... I'm going with the 2 teams who are favored. The New Orleans Breakers have been playing pretty well. They have a win-and-in scenario against the Houston Gamblers. They're -4 on the road, total 44.5. So I'll be going with New Orleans. And then the Philadelphia Stars also on the road, laying 1 at Michigan. I think if they win, they're in 2 because they will win that division with a record of 5-5. So going to try to take those 2 teams, see what happens. Again, don't take these picks to the bank. I sure haven't watched a whole lot of it. And then, Chris, you have any thoughts on these USFL games? Or?
No, you know, Matt, I will say this, and I haven't watched much, but Sunday when we were down to Vets, it was slim pickings as far as sports viewership.
Going to get even slimmer.
But and after that race on I think it was FS1, that football game came on. It actually was a pretty good game.
Yeah, no, they've been fine. It's
I don't know who the hell was it. It was New Jersey and
I think it was
New Jersey and
Philadelphia. Yeah,
but it ended up being a pretty entertaining game, and they made it close. But it's just weird when you watch these games, and other than when we watched the XFL, that who had the big home crowd, St. Louis.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody at these games.
Yeah,
how's this going to continue?
Birmingham gets a little bit, but that's about all. Yeah, no.
But are they all still playing at the same?
No. There's like 4.
Tell me that. Not like,
no, they're not. There's 2 teams that are playing, like Pittsburgh and Michigan maybe are playing in Canton. There's some regionalized ones.
But the last time they did that, though, everything was in Birmingham.
It was the first year, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, because that was COVID related mostly.
Right.
So, yeah, but... I mean, we'll give a look at these playoffs. Hopefully, they'll be somewhat entertaining. It's something to watch, I guess, and you can gamble on it.
If you're desperate,
yeah, it's not bad. It's not a terrible product. And then let's move on to Canadian football here in our first segment here. A couple more football things to hit on. CFL Week 2. As I mentioned, I really actually enjoy the CFL. It's pretty fun stuff to watch. It's actually pretty good football. So be getting more into that. Hopefully get a feel. It's a little early to make any picks, but this week, last week we had BC beat Calgary 25-15. Winnipeg beat Hamilton 42-31. Montreal beat Ottawa 19-12. And Saskatchewan beat Edmonton 17-13. So some pretty competitive games. You had, I think, 2 overs and 2 unders, so that was a little bit mixed. There's a game Thursday night, which this show will be coming out after that. I like the game under, so that won't do anybody any good. But Friday evening, a 9 o'clock kick on CBS Sports Network, which CBS, I believe, got the rights to Canadian football this year. I guess ESPN
I saw
passed
you had that
on
listed on your games here. The CBS.
So Winnipeg Blue Bombers with Zach Collaros. Yep. They're pretty good. Probably lay the points with them, so I'm going to take them -6. And then on Saturday, also a night kickoff on CBS Sports Network. It's 7 o'clock. And I like this game over Edmonton and BC. Battle of Western Canada. Should be some points on the board. BC a 7-point favorite in the game, but I think the Elks can muster up a few touchdowns to get that over 45.5. And then Sunday, we'll probably have to watch this at the club because there won't be much else on. Also on CBS Sports Network at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Hamilton at Toronto. A big battle of Eastern Canada here. These are 2 rivals fierce rivals. I like the game over 46.5. 4 of the last 5 in this rivalry have went over the total, so be going with those. And I'll have a little bit better idea on these as the weeks go on and we start to watch and see. I know the Ottawa Red Blacks, they have some serious quarterback problems. I think their one guy got hurt, or their starter was already hurt in training camp, and then their backup threw like 3 picks last week. So it wasn't a good start for them, but so they could be a fate.
The Red Blacks, who were they?
They used to be called the Ottawa.
Yeah, that's not important.
No, they did have that. Well, the Edmonton used to be the Eskimos, and which is racist apparently.
Yes.
Now, who the hell?
Because I thought 2 teams had the same nickname at one time, but
they might have been the Rough Riders too, but I don't think they were. I don't know. So
wait, so not everybody's playing this week?
No, there's always one team off.
Who is it? Montreal?
I think Hamilton doesn't play. Oh no, Hamilton does play. Yeah, that's right. They got their big battle. It must be Montreal. Yeah.
They
Montreal.
Still the Alouettes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's derogatory.
Okay, good.
Let's hope not. All right, and then just quickly on the NFL before we take a break here in segment 1, get the football out of the way. NFL offseason, any interesting things going on? Chris, you got a lot of these running backs whining and crying and getting cut, and we're not paying me enough, and blah, blah, wah, wah, wah. Saquon Barkley, and Kareem Hunt's out there. Zeke Elliott, he had to play offensive line, and then most recently Dalvin Cook. Any thoughts, and what are your people telling you? Any of these guys going to get signed?
I don't know. So the word was Dalvin Cook was going to Miami.
Well, that's where he's from. So I'm assuming people.
Because he went to Florida State.
Yeah, but he's from Miami.
Okay,
Central.
but he because I know they're not re-signing, but they didn't trade him right yet.
No, they've released Cook. Yeah. So he's out there.
Well, and I know, and not that he's running back, but the Bills Nation was freaking out over Stephon Diggs.
Oh, yeah.
Because he didn't show up, but I guess he was back today. It was mandatory mini camps or whatever it was. So there was a big sigh of relief for them.
Oh, yeah. You'll be getting all the talk here soon about this stuff, talking about mini camps and who looks good and all this crap. Guys wearing shorts. I mean, come on.
Wow.
It's not going to translate into anything.
That was like, and I've been following, not so much, just reading up on things about the Browns and their OTAs. And, how many years have we just bought into the hype? Every year, they're going to be better. They got this guy. Now, granted, they have a shit ton of talent on offense.
Yeah, I mean, they had a good team on paper. I mean, they got. Right. Are they going to get DeAndre Hopkins? I mean, they keep talking like they're the front runners.
He was visiting the Patriots today, but they were some of the reviews of these OTAs and these mini camps that they couldn't believe Deshaun Watson looked so good, Elijah, these guys, but it was all 7-on-7,
right? Yeah.
And so how do you really?
No, I mean I can tell you that same thing. They say that up at West Liberty every year. Oh man, watch the way this guy is in 7-on-7.
We're still waiting for something good to happen. Well, we're not anymore, but so I don't know.
I do not know how anyone gets excited about this crap. I really don't. It's tough. Coaches counting the days down to football. I'm not at all. Just maybe they'll go on strike or something. I'm not even the least bit excited about it.
I enjoy it. I get excited for it, but probably mid-October I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
And you know why? It's the referees. We have to review whether a guy got hit too hard, and it just I don't know.
Player safety. That's what they say, but they play now. They're playing 18 games now.
Yeah. So they speak
anyway, I do have 3 bets though that I'm going to give out right now that I absolutely love, and I'm going to put this one as a 10-star, and people are going to say, "Oh, you're just biased because you like this team." Baltimore Ravens are listed at their win total. You can find them at 9 or 9.5. That is ridiculously low, and they'll win probably at least 11 games. So I'm going to tell you right now, 10-star bet on them, and honestly, I almost gave the Browns out as an over too. I'm one of the few people that thinks the Bengals are dressed up and they're not as good as they've been.
Yep.
And now they're mouthing off again. They're Patrick Burrow's the best quarterback in the league. Okay, check the rings, buddy. But Jamar Chase was saying that. I don't like Cincinnati.
Why do these guys do that?
Well, they just keep motivating the best guys on the earth.
Right.
I don't understand it. Just keep kicking them. But Anyway, Ravens over their win total. I really think it's a strong bet. I know
9.5.
Yeah,
Okay.
Their schedule. If you look at their schedule, it is very attainable. They're going to win a lot of games. So I think the Browns can too. They play the same schedule, so more or less. Maybe I don't know. They have any AFC teams maybe that are different, maybe a couple, but for the most part, it's exactly the same schedule. And I don't think that division is as great as everyone thinks. I think it's going to be good. I think it'll be even. But I'm not a believer in the Steelers at all.
No.
And I'm not a believer in the Bengals. Bengals are beatable. I really like the Browns in the first week against the Bengals. Yes. I think that's going to be a dangerous spot for the Bengals. The Browns are trending upward as they had a subpar season because they're working a quarterback back who hasn't played in years. Mm-hmm. I expect the Browns to be really good, and the Ravens are going to be a lot better too on offense. I mean, obviously it depends on if Jackson stays healthy, but I'm giving that as a major 10-star play right now. Get on it if you want to bet something early, tie up your money early. I think the Ravens over their win total is an exceptional bet. And the second one I have, and I would rate this one about a 9 stars, the Green Bay Packers under 8 wins. Everybody keeps telling me how great their defense is and blah, blah, blah. Well, their defense is basically the same as it was last year. It was terrible last year. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of high-priced guys, a lot of names. They should have been a lot better. And they have a good quarterback last year. They don't have a good quarterback this year. Their defense is going to be on the field triple the time that they were last year. So I know everyone hates Aaron Rodgers because he didn't get vaccinated and he's mouthy and he acts like he's smarter than everybody. I mean, I respect the guy. I think he's good. He's a little different, but don't get mad at him for that. Everyone just wants to beat on this dude. And now everyone hated him, ran him out of Green Bay. Basically, now some people are in love with him with the Jets and thinks he's going to take them to the Super Bowl. But
I don't see
that either because I don't think the Jets are very good, and their defense was overrated last year. But I really love this Green Bay play under 8 wins. Is probably going to end up going down to 7.5. But I have no confidence in Jordan Love. We saw what happened when he came into play.
I was just going to say, Matt,
he couldn't play.
A few appearances, he was god awful.
He looked like a guy who was like a deer in the headlights, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. He just didn't look like a player that could play. So we got a young roster of talent on offense, but if they couldn't come together with Aaron Rodgers, how are they going to do it with this team?
Well, Matt, not only that,
and they got a bad coach.
Who is it?
Matt LaFleur. That guy's a clown. Yeah. He'll be fired after this year, probably.
And I think all the teams in their division are going to even be better. Detroit.
Well, Detroit is the team to beat in that division.
Right.
Minnesota will be okay. They won all those games close. I don't find that. But and then everyone says the Bears. Now the Bears, I don't think are. I just don't see Justin Fields. The Bears have made a lot of moves to try to make their roster better. But my God, if Fields can't play, it doesn't matter. No. So it's going to come down to that. Which quarterback will be better, Love or Fields? That's what it'll come down to.
I'd say it would be Fields just because he
can run and he can make plays like a running back, and that's why he can maybe win a game or two. I have zero confidence in the Packers. I really think they'll struggle to win 4 or 5 games. I really, really do. So Ravens my top play, Packers my second best play, and then I like an over Houston Texans. I like them over 2.5. They only got to win 3 games in a bad division. Yeah. That division's not very good. The Colts are still going to be terrible. Jacksonville will be pretty solid. And then the Titans, just okay. I think D'Amico Ryans will energize that franchise, and I think they'll be pretty good. I think they'll win it. I think they'll win at least 5 games. So I think you're getting a steal there. To win 3 games in that shitty AFC South, jump on the Texans. So those are my early plays.
I'm going to have to do that.
I figure give them out early. I know but sometimes when you get your gut feeling, like those were 3 that I had a gut feeling about, and just go with them and see what the hell happens. They'll probably all 3 be losers.
Never too early.
But you never know. Lamar Jackson's going to go off on a stretcher in week 1 probably. So you'll be happy.
I will be happy. I hope you could still win your bet. Yeah, I don't want you to lose
that's
your bet.
Not going to happen without that.
But yeah, he's basically he's the key to all of it for them.
I mean, they bring in all these toys, but if he's not there to use them, it's
and they probably got Dobbins will be back, right?
Yeah, should be all healthy. Should be, but we'll see. Somebody will get hurt in training camp, but we'll see.
Play.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break here on Bettor's Last Stand. Come back, talk a little bit of baseball, and then U.S. Open before we get with the uncle-to-be, Sammy, the man with a master plan. They call him Sam, and he'll be here in the final segment. This is Bettor's Last Stand with Matt and Chris. We'll be right back after this.
Reminder, Bettor's Last Stand is for informational and entertainment purposes only. All wagering activity should only be conducted by those 21 years of age or older and within the confines of federal, state, and local law. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, contact 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. You're watching Bettor's Last Stand.
All right, greetings. Welcome back. It's Bettor's Last Stand, show number 41. We're with you all the way up till football season. Hopefully someday Coach and Luke will be back. Thanks again to Chris for sitting in and helping me
trying to help
steer
you
the
out,
ship,
Matt, any way I can.
so I don't have to talk to myself for 2 hours, but it's okay. I can do that too if we have to, so we're versatile. But hopefully we'll get Coach and Luke back in the mix as we get closer to football season. I know Coach is fucking going to be having a hard on here real soon about college football.
Did he have a number of?
Yeah, he said it the other day, but I don't even listen. And I
Right.
just
You just
tune out when it comes to that crap. Hawaii versus Ohio on the boy, or what? Some Ohio versus. No, it wasn't Hawaii versus Ohio, but just terrible games. And again, we talked about it before, but expanding this college football playoff is really not going to be. It's going to be good for my industry and people's interests, kind of like March Madness. But there's only still going to be like 2 or 3 teams that can win the thing, and there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to get their asses beat. Small teams playing against Georgia.
Does that go into effect this year?
No, next year.
So it'll be what, 12? 12 teams?
Yeah. Is it? Yeah, 12. Yeah, I think it's 12.
So they triple it from 4 to...
Yeah. It's I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it, but I mean, I get why they're doing it for money, and TV. That's the name of the game, so can't fault them for that. It's just the way of the world. All right, let's go to Major League Baseball real quick. The A's win 7 in a row. I don't know if by the time you hear this, they'll probably have lost a couple games by then, but A's are playing all right. And
that kind of got started with their 2
Pirates.
out of 3 wins against the Pirates.
And the Pirates actually should have got swept in that series. The A's
have.
blew the game 1. So then they sweep Milwaukee. Then they've won 2 games against Tampa. And I know Coach and all the Ray guys, Cooley loves the Rays, Jarrett loves the Rays, Coach loves the Rays. I'm telling you right now, don't bet on the Rays to win the World Series. They are not winning the World Series. They cannot hit away from their home park. They are just a mediocre team, and that is pushing it on the road. They're really good in that little stadium that they have down there. But, man, you take them out of there, and they are very, very, very average, and their lineup is not very good.
Well, they're 17 and 15 on the road. I don't know the stats.
And they've played a very, very weak schedule. So, more tough games to come for them. I don't
sound like you don't like Tampa.
I can't stand them. But I'm not trying to be biased. Like a few years ago, 2 years ago when they played the Yankees in the ALCS, like I thought they were a World Series caliber team. They're just not now. I'm just being honest, telling you what my eyes see. But I'm tired of hearing about how great they are. They're a stat compiled team at home. If you look at their runs and all the things they do everything better at home. So keep an eye on them. I'd be fading them. They may not even hold on that division, but the problem is the division's tough, and none of the teams can seem to get any traction except for the Orioles. The Yankees, to me, are a terrible playoff team. The outfield they started the other night is not even a Frontier League caliber outfield. You could actually probably find a better college outfield than that. They're in big trouble if they don't get Judge back soon. Stanton's always hurt. I have no faith in them. Garrett Cole is a loser. He's not a number 1 pitcher. So I'd be fading them. But there's some teams that I think you can get some great value on right now. The Mets tailspin right now continues. They are just a mess. They blew a game last night to the Yankees. Max Scherzer is pretty much done. I'm not usually one to come out and say when a guy has some bad outings that he's totally done, but he might be. So I would be looking at the Yankees and the Mets both to miss the playoffs right now. You could get the Yankees plus 205 to miss the playoffs. The Mets minus 195 now. They're a favorite. The Milwaukee Brewers, total frauds. Can't hit again.
Yep.
Kristen Yelich, I don't know what happened to that dude. He had to have been on steroids or something.
That was, about 4 years ago when he had that great year?
Yeah, it was like a
and then
MVP times 100.
Then the following year he was off.
And he's gotten worse ever since. And I don't know what happened to him, but he's a mess. They cannot hit, and their pitching is just not good enough to carry him. It's the same problems for these teams every year. They can't, and that's why I think Tampa's vulnerable because they can't hit.
Well, and the Brewers, like you said, They're in second place, and they're 34-34, but they're minus 25 in run differential.
Right. And then they're getting swept at home by Oakland.
Yes.
And I know Oakland got hot, and they're probably going to get their win total now, but they're a bad team. The Royals are now the worst team in the league.
I was going to say Oakland no longer owns the worst.
Yeah. Now how about that? Now how quick a week can change things in baseball. But there's a lot of vulnerable teams here, and I still think if I have to pick two teams out of the National League, I'm going with the Braves and the Dodgers. I don't love the Dodgers. I still think their pitching is going to end up letting them down. But I can't find anyone else that can really rival the Braves in the National League. The Padres, if they could ever get it going, I still think they could still be heard from. There's still time.
What's holding them back, though? I mean, God,
just being in sync. Their pitching's not that great, and their lineup just hasn't been all together to mesh. I don't know. And their manager's a clown, so Bob Melvin, I never liked him. I think but he was better than that guy they had to fire a few years ago, the guy that was like a used car salesman or whatever he was. But National League, I do think that the Braves are going to be damn tough to beat.
Well, in the Central, I would agree with you on the Braves.
Because they're just the most stable team. They got good starters. They got a pretty good bullpen, and they got a couple of really good hitters. Like Starr and Acuna can play defense, too. Yes. So, I mean, the Braves are good. They're really good. And then, I'll tell you a team that, again, today, I know everybody keeps waiting for the Cardinals to kick it in gear, and we thought that, but they're a little league team. They can't play defense. They can't pitch. Their bullpen stinks.
15 games under, well, maybe 16 games.
Yeah, now they lost again today. So they blew a lead. Bullpen is horrible. Other than their two corner infielders, they're a joke. But that division is so up for grabs. I think the Reds and the Cubs are great bets if you want to bet them to make the playoffs or to win that division, which is going to be basically the same thing. I mean, you have a chance here to get the Cubs. You can get the Cubs at almost 10-1 to win the division. You can get them at plus 750 to make the playoffs. And then the Reds, you can get at plus $7 to make the playoffs. And you can get the Reds at about 8-1 to win the division. Those are good bets. I have zero faith in the Brewers or the Cardinals, and I do think the stock on the Cubs and the Reds is rising. Pirates are just going to be in the middle. They're going to be up and down, and Jack Sawinski, and I got to hear about how good he is one night, and then he'll go for his next 12 with like 11 Ks. I don't know. I think the Pirates will tread water, but I am not a backer of the Brewers or the Cardinals. I'd jump in on the Cubs and the Reds. I think those are great bets. And then the Giants, who played the Cardinals today. The Giants continue to amaze me. Their roster is not flashy at all. They play in a great ballpark. It's a really good spot to watch a game. I don't know what it is about that, but I always like watching games that are played in that park. It's just something about that setting. The fans are super into it. The pitching is pretty solid. And Gabe Kapler's done a good job with them. They're right there. Yes, to make the playoffs for them, plus 125. Them and the Diamondbacks, NL West is a good division.
Yeah, it is.
At least four teams in that division. If the Padres ever get off their ass, are legit playoff teams. So keep an eye on the Giants. They may need some help. But you also have to think, most people would have thought that the Phillies and the Mets were playoff teams in the East. And I don't think either one of them are going to be. So the East may be a one playoff bid. You might get Atlanta, and then in the Central it's probably going to be one. So the West, I mean, they technically could get all those teams in if they continue to beat up on the other National League and American League teams that they play outside of their division.
I'd say the biggest surprise in the National League would be Miami.
Them and the Diamondbacks. Yeah, those two. Yeah. No, Miami's again.
They were atrocious.
Miami can't hit, but they got the guy that gets all the singles.
Yeah, man, that is crazy. Yeah. They're 6 games over 500, but minus 33.
Yeah. They struggle to hit, but they got good pitching. They got that Luis Arraez guy who can hit singles. And, even teams like the Nationals are pesky. The Nationals play pretty hard. They're not nearly as bad as people thought they would be. I don't know. I still, in the American League, I'm not feeling very good about the Astros right now. They haven't been very solid, but again, they're a team that kind of turns it on when they need to. Texas Rangers have been the most impressive team to me in the American League. And then, the Orioles have played really well. I'm not sure they have the experience to be able to do much in the playoffs, but they're on the cusp. They're on their way.
Well, the Rangers they're mashers. I mean,
yeah, their problem now. They lose to Grom now. Their pitching's starting to show some signs. They just had to put Gray on the disabled list, so they're good. But I think they'll make some moves. I think they'll make some trades. So I think the Rangers
they
can
lead
be
the league and lead all of baseball and runs scored. I believe.
Yeah, they're a good team. I'm impressed with them. I think they'll be tough to beat. And then you'd like to think Houston would be in the mix. And then I don't know, out of the AL East, I don't really I know that's a really good division, but the Orioles don't have the experience or the pitching to do it. The Rays can't play away from home. The Red Sox have terrible pitching. The Yankees have terrible hitting and terrible pitching. Yeah. The Blue Jays have a great lineup, but their pitching has been suspect to the point where sometimes they'll get good starts out of guys, other times they won't, and their bullpen hasn't been very good. So, Chris, any dark horse teams? What do you think of your AL Central? Who's the team to beat? Will Cleveland turn it on when they need to? And
they got the pitching, but again, that's another team that does not hit.
No, they can't. They can't.
So many times they've it's almost like when we've seen Michael Grove pitch. Just never get. Does a good out, and they get good starting pitching, and they'll score 1 or 2 runs at the most. And
I've quit betting the Indians. What the fuck they're called, Guardians. Yeah, right. I quit betting them because I can't bet them because they can never score. If it's not Jose Ramirez hitting a home run or hitting a double, they never get a guy past first base the whole game. And it's so frustrating when you have them and you think, wow, I got a good matchup here pitching-wise, and their pitcher throws a good game, and they can never muster any runs. Right. So I usually only play Cleveland if it's going to be an under bet. I can't trust them. There's teams like that I have. I've basically blackballed from playing them. Like, I won't bet against the Rays at home. Like, you can't do it. Like, they win every game. They seems like they play every game. They play more home games than Ohio State. But they're always at home, and they're always banging the ball around that park, and it's rolling around, and the other team can't win. So I'm starting to develop some trends in my own mind that may or may not be real.
And I like in the AL West, too. I think the Angels have put it together here lately.
Yeah,
they're
not bad. I don't know if their pitching will hold up, but
they've won 8 of their last 10. But
they're hanging around now. Yeah. It's going to happen though. They're going to hang around enough. They're not going to trade Ohtani, and then he's going to walk, and they're going to get nothing for him. So tough time being an Angel fan. I don't know. All right, let's jump over to the College World Series briefly. I don't have a lot to say about this. Used to be something that I really, really enjoyed. Don't do it so much now. These players remind me of NBA players. They're hard to watch. They're arrogant. They're cocky. They act like idiots. A lot of the teams. So not real high on this tournament like I used to be. But I did make 2 bets a few weeks ago on TCU and Oral Roberts to win it all. Ironically, they get matched up with each other in the first game. So I'm hoping one of them can come out of the bracket, and I believe that's bracket number 1. So you got bracket number 1, who Florida actually drew really well here. They get Virginia, TCU, and Oral Roberts, and then you got probably what people consider to be the 3 top teams: Wake Forest, LSU, and Tennessee, along with Stanford in the bracket number 2. Yeah. Wake Forest, the number 1 team. They got a loaded pitching staff. They got a really good lineup. They'll be tough to beat. But LSU and Tennessee, who play each other on Saturday, neither one of those teams can be overlooked. So I think Florida may make some sense from a perspective of trying to take advantage of the lesser bracket. Oral Roberts, obviously a small school. Virginia is not nearly as good as they have been in the past. And TCU peaked at the right time. They played really good baseball down the stretch out of the Big 12. So I took a shot with them in Oral Roberts. Like I say, I bet that ticket before they even played in their super regionals. Just taking a shot that if they could get there, that maybe I could get lucky enough to get them there, and you never know what can happen. But so I'll be trying to ride that out right now. But as I said, Wake Forest plus 250 to win the tournament, followed by LSU at plus 375. Tennessee is actually about 8-1. Virginia actually is 6-1, and then Florida plus 375. Florida might be the team though with that setup that they have, so they wouldn't have to play the 3 of the best teams until the finals, which could be beneficial.
So how does this work on the brackets? You just
it's just double elimination. It's basically like 2 separate tournaments.
Gotcha.
The 4 teams in the top and the 4. So 4 of them play Friday. Oral Roberts versus TCU on Friday, along with Virginia and Florida in. That is bracket number 1, and then bracket 2 on Saturday. Stanford, Wake, Tennessee, and LSU. LSU favored in that game. Wake Forest minus 210 favored over Stanford. Florida minus 130 over Virginia, and TCU minus 165 against Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts might be worth a look there at plus 135. They're pretty good. They went out and beat Oregon at Oregon to get here. So
That's weird seeing them in there.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to see
a
different team. So I'll be pulling for them. Whoever wins between them and TCU, that's the bet I have. If you want more college baseball talk, listen to the radio show. Jarrett, he talks about this constantly. He just loves it. So we'll defer to his knowledge versus mine, because I have a hard time watching this. As I said, these kids are punks. They act like goofs. A lot of them.
Is Tennessee toned it down from last year?
Yeah, because they're not as good. Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, just
I still root against them. Just
I would too. Their behavior was appalling. Yeah. But anyway, if you like college baseball, give it a look. I'm sure it'll be okay. I mean, I'll follow it. I'll watch it, but I'm not going to be. It's not going to be on my main TV, like watching with sound and everything, because it's just a thing you keep an eye on as the day goes on, and there can be some exciting finishes. So teams are never buried. So one thing to remember in game betting, which they should have for the College World Series, is one of your better teams falls behind early. It's not a bad thing to put a few dollars on them, because they can't come back and win. You can erase 8-run leads here really quickly in college baseball.
So if you happen to have it on and I call you during the game, it's okay. Like I'm not interrupting anything.
I'm not sure much you'd interrupt me much this time of year, except maybe the U.S. Open, or nobody would be calling me at the time of an Australian rules game. So.
Right.
So no, feel free. I'm available most times.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, I'll be good. I'd probably be better off going to Garden Park and watching the game than watching this stuff. But anyway, if you have questions, any observations, again, listen to the show. Can call in on Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday on WKKX, and I'll get you to Jarrett, and he can tell you anything you need to know about college baseball. Guru. So, all right, let's jump over to the U.S. Open golf we got a few minutes left before we get to Sam. U.S. Open golf. I got to be quite honest here. I don't love anybody in this tournament. Normally, I have a pretty good feel for what this is going to be. They've never played this course before, LA Country Club. The PGA hasn't, so uncharted waters. Max Homa getting a lot of talk about him because he has the course record that he played here when he was in college. I don't find that to be relevant.
To me, that doesn't. I would agree.
Because Rory McIlroy played on his home course in the British Open a few years ago, and he was terrible. And I think it's a lot of pressure. So you're getting a lot of talk about the California guys, Patrick Cantlay, who I kind of liked here. But I'll probably be fading these guys. I'm going to fade Max Homa. I'm obviously fading Rory McIlroy. He's a loser, and then this live golf thing just gets worse and worse for him. He is no threat at all. If you bet him at 11-1, you're insane. I wouldn't bet him at 30-1, but he's just not going to win. I can just tell you, he's just not going to win. But anyway, if you want to waste your money on him, go ahead. You heard it here first. We tell you that every week, or at least I do. Jordan Spieth getting a lot of traction. I'm going to pass on him. He's been injured. I think this course could fit him, but I don't love. He's injured and he's a mental case, so that concerns me. Xander Schauffele's a guy I always want to try to take a shot with, 20-1, but he just hasn't been able to finish it off. So I probably should keep betting him, because the one day I don't, he'll probably win. But to me, my honest opinion about this, and the only real feel that I have, is Brooks Koepka is the guy to beat. He's the third choice on the betting board, which he was the fourth choice. Rory McIlroy somehow. Now, Brooks Koepka's won 5 majors in the last 4.5 years. Rory McIlroy hasn't won a major in almost 10 years. Remember that. Not 10 years.
Wow.
So I don't understand it, why he was a lower price than Koepka, but that's since adjusted. Koepka now 11-1. Jon Rahm and Scottie Scheffler are your top 2 choices. Scheffler's game has been up and down. He's still good enough to churn out top 20s, though, because he's just that good. Jon Rahm played bad in the PGA, but I expect him to bounce back. So those guys are definite contenders. But, man, when Koepka is on, Chris, he is really, really, really good. And he's unflappable out there. And now that he's healthy, I just think he's the guy to beat here. And I don't think 11-1 is a terrible price.
Him too. Yeah, plus I have to use him in that thing we have with Neil.
Great to have him there. I had him in the last tournament that he won. So that was good for me. But, yeah. A couple of guys that I did like. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I do like Bryson DeChambeau, 45-1. I'm not a fan of his at all, but I think he could be dangerous here. He played pretty well in the PGA. If he could put it together, I think you're getting a double the price that he used to be when he was on the PGA Tour in his hot phase. Cam Smith, big fan of his. He's played well in the U.S. Open in the past, 28-1. I think it's a great bet. I'll be keeping an eye on him. His game isn't quite as sharp as I'd hoped it to be, but I'm going to take a shot with him. So right now, Koepka, DeChambeau, Smith would kind of be my top 3. Justin Rose, the guy I love. I've been betting him constantly. He's been racking up top 10s and top 20s, so I would get on him. He's 50-1. It's a great chance to win this. He's won the U.S. Open before. If he drives the ball accurately, he will have a very good chance. His putting is just fantastic. And then a guy I kind of have a hunch about, I think Hideki Matsuyama might play pretty good here. He's 40-1, so I'm going to take a little shot with him. He's one of the few opinions that I had, gut feeling type opinions. And then Terrell Hatton, you just flip a coin. He's so volatile, but he's 60-1. He's very talented. And then I really actually I like the kid a lot, Victor Hovland. I love him. He's 16-1. I don't know if I can bet him at 16-1. It was kind of messed up that he won a few weeks ago at the Memorial because now his odds went down because I was hoping to get him around like 25, and now he's down to 16. I think he's a great player, and I know he's going to win a major at some point. He's one of the most likable guys you could ever see, so hopefully he does well. And then a couple of longer shots. I thought Keegan Bradley was interesting at 100-1. I thought Joaquin Niemann at 80-1. Really good players on the LIV Tour now. You don't get to hear about him a lot, and I'll be taking a shot with him. And then Sung J M hasn't had a great season, so I don't love his form, but I feel like he could be dangerous. You're getting him at 50-1, which a couple of years ago, or actually probably a year ago at this time, he's around 18, 19-1. So I think there's some good value there. Chris, what are you seeing? Who's on your radar?
Cameron Young.
Okay.
What's he, 28-1?
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and I also, when I glanced at when we were during the break, I do like DeChambeau. And I also, as a dark horse, I got to go with Minwoo Lee.
Okay,
again.
Minwoo. All
Although
right. Keep playing Minwoo. At some point, he'll win, and you'll be happy.
And I'm going to get him in a matchup too. I think he's against Ryan Fox.
Okay, yep, I'll see that. So yep, that's probably a good one. Minwoo all the way. All right, Minwoo over Ryan Fox. And then now there's a couple matchups I like. I like Justin Rose against Tommy Fleetwood. These are tournament matchups. So Justin Rose is an underdog to Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy Fleetwood played really good last week, but he kind of choked like he always does.
That was
I'm a Tommy Fleetwood fan, but he comes apart when the pressure's on, sadly. And then a couple of these, the prices these are just flat out wrong. Scotty Scheffler minus $2 head-to-head matchup with Brooks Koepka. That's outrageous. He maybe should be minus 120, minus 130 against Koepka, not $2. That is ridiculous. Koepka plus 170. That is like stealing money. Adam Schenk over Taylor Montgomery. Adam Schenk, a small favorite there, minus 125. I like Joaquin Niemann over Sam Burns. Niemann, a dog there. He's even money. Sam Burns, minus 120. I think that's backwards. Dustin Johnson over Tony Finau. DJ, plus money, plus 120 against Finau, who has not been in top form. And then this one, again, just ludicrous. So Koepka got bet down to 11-1, whereas Rory McIlroy is around 12-1, 11-1. Yeah, but Rory McIlroy is minus 150 against Koepka in a head-to-head matchup. Brooks Koepka plus 130 against Rory McIlroy. That's just not right. That is, I don't know what odds makers are doing with their power ratings, but it's not correct. Rory McIlroy again hasn't won in 10 years.
So what do they go by on that day? Because that doesn't make any sense.
They're just going to play off the statistics where he ranks in certain things, and when they put their power ratings together. And honestly, the one thing I will defend the bookmaking profession for, you have to do this, even though if you know that one guy is definitely better or not better or whatever you want to do, you have to say, okay, people are going to bet him, so I don't want to make his price so appealing that if he does win. So you gotta it's like Tiger Woods. If you bet Tiger at 20-1, his true odds should be like 50-1. But you gotta keep it at 20 or less because everybody will bet him. Right. Phil Mickelson was like that too before he went to LIV. People just bet him blindly. So that's part of the Rory thing too. I just don't understand what people are watching. If you watch golf every week, you'll realize that these players now are just better than Rory McIlroy, and he's got a long way if he's going to win a major anytime soon.
Now, I got a question for you on this. When you have these matchups,
yes,
okay, and I was just looking at two guys I've never heard of, probably no one's heard of, Austin Eckroat and JT Poston. Can you still bet those guys? What if they neither one of them make the cut? They still go by who.
Yeah, so if one's 8 over and one's 7 over, the guy that's 7 over will win.
Okay, so that doesn't
Yeah, it doesn't exclude. No,
Okay.
But obviously, if you have a guy that makes the cut and the other guy against you misses it, it's an easy winner. You're putting a W by there on Friday. I know Coach loves that when he gets to put a W there. I also thought Sergio Garcia at 151. I don't know what kind of shape his game is in, but he's kind of a guy that plays off momentum, and 150-1 is just flat out wrong. That's just too big of a number. I'd probably take a shot with a guy like that. But anyway, check out our golf postings. I'll have them up on social. We'll put them up over the weekend. We're going to get ready to talk racing here with Sam. And then in the final part of the show, after we talk about the racing, I'll go through my AFL picks for the week very quickly since no one's really that interested in it. But you never know. Maybe there's one person out there listening to us that actually has been making money off it. Because I got to say, I've been doing really well in the last few weeks, and it might be the best sport that I have right now. So anyway, we'll try to get you some winners in that. We're going to take a break here on BLS. We're going to be right back with Slammin' Sammy, the uncle-to-be. We're going to talk F1 and IndyCar. This is Bettor's Last Stand with Matt and Chris. We'll be right back.
Reminder, Bettor's Last Stand is for informational and entertainment purposes only. All wagering activity should only be conducted by those 21 years of age or older and within the confines of federal, state, and local law. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, contact 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. You're watching Bettor's Last Stand.
All right, welcome back in Bettor's Last Stand. Matt and Chris here with you, joined by the man with a master plan. They call him Sam from Upper St. Clair, the uncle-to-be. Hey, Sam, welcome back to the show after a couple weeks off. Good to see you, buddy. Hope all is well. Sad things, though. You got some happy things, but your neighbor, Stan Savern, Upper St. Clair zone, passed away the other day. Give us your thoughts on that. It's a sad day as a Pittsburgh guy.
I mean, Stan's the guy for me. It's like I remember when I was a kid, you'd turn on Fox Sports because it was Fox Sports, and it'd be Stan Savern all the time. Penn Stan Savern. And I didn't even know he was like that sick. I know he had like some issues.
Right.
But like 2 weeks ago, I heard him with Mark Madden, the super genius, and then it's just like, oh, he's dead.
That's exactly what I told Chris. Because if you were listening to Madden last week at his normal spot, and Madden said, well, Stan is under the weather, and he won't be on. And I was like, oh, this can't be good. And then sure enough.
Because it has to take, according to what I read, he hated missing work and he said he wasn't going to retire. So if he had to miss a show or an appearance, he was bad.
They said he worked up to 6 days before his passing. He couldn't physically do anything else. But yeah, I guess cancer and diabetes and not cool. But Stan will be missed. Upper St. Clair legend. So.
Hey, Sam, you'll like it. Well, Matt will too. I saw a thing on whatever website it was, and it was like a survey and rate your favorite Pittsburgh sports announcer. I can't remember all the guys that were listed, but it included like Paul Steigerwald, Mike Lang,
Greg Brown.
And Greg Brown, Greg Brown got 2%.
Who voted? Jared probably voted for him.
Was Joe Block?
Joe Block wasn't even on.
No, he couldn't be.
But they had like Bill Hillgrove. I can't remember, but it was probably
Charlie
Stan
Batch
probably
on there.
Who?
Charlie Batch.
No, they didn't have it. I tell you who they had on there was Guy Junker, and I saw Guy Junker last night. He looked like he should be living under a fucking bridge. Did you see his hair?
He
looks homeless.
Yeah,
I talked to and Mark said to me, we were down in Sons Italy at the bar watching it, and Mark said, Who told Guy that that's a good look?
Yeah.
I thought he looked. And
he looks worse than Stan.
Yeah, right. I couldn't believe it. I mean, that's not fair.
He reminded me of somebody that should be like an Anchorman. He looked like a fake character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you're not on TV anymore and you're only doing stuff in the paper or radio.
I was stunned to see him look like that.
Yeah, Guy's a mess. Stan and Guy love the show.
Love the show.
Yeah. All right. Well, I love Sam's pick last week of Martin Truex Jr. It was a good one for me. I had to sweat it out though with those cautions late. It's never easy at Sears Point, Sonoma. That's always Chris and I were talking. it's an underrated track. I enjoy that track. I think it has a lot of interesting corners and things like that can present some trouble. So thoughts about that race, and then we'll get into what's to come with the F1 and the Indy cars this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good race. I love that Denny crashed himself. For some reason, I just like, I don't know, ever since he started like talking more and more and more about NASCAR and like how he's the one that's always bitching, I like it when he does it to himself. Because he had a good car. He was running strong. Him and Truex, they were running pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. But, Hamlin's rubbing me the wrong way lately, too. He's always acting like he's the victim or Bubba's the victim, and it's like just what do you got, Chris?
No, I didn't want to, but he's echoing on mine.
Yeah, it's echoing a little bit in mine.
Oh, it doesn't matter? Okay.
Yeah, Job will clean it up.
All
it's
right.
good. It's all good. But, yeah, thank you for letting me. No, you're fine, yeah. But, no, Denny Hamlin's rubbing me the wrong way. I've kind of had enough of his act, so...
Sam,
anyway.
are you betting these picks, by the way? Because you're giving some good ones over the weeks that you've been doing this.
I'm checking the books, man.
But is it? But are you just treating it as for amusement only, or are you trying to put some dollars in your pocket?
No, if I really think I can put some dollars in my pocket, I will. But like last week, I was iffy on Chastain, and Chastain had like a number, and I didn't bet it because it's just.
So you're not opposed to betting it?
No.
Okay, all right, gotcha.
He picks his spots and he explores the numbers, which is good. So no cup race this week, so we got a week off. Then we switch over to NBC and they head to Nashville. We'll talk about that next week, but let's go ahead and jump into Formula One. So Canadian Grand Prix, we had a week off last week. After Max Verstappen dominated as usual, he's minus $3 to win here up in Montreal again. He's the defending champion of this race. Is there any chance he could lose this race? I mean, it's very slim, isn't it?
I'm going to go with a no again.
Okay.
And the only chance I do believe is Fernando Alonso.
Okay, yeah.
Because he qualified second there last year, for Alpine. And I mean, Mercedes, I don't know what's going on with them because they had a great run these last couple of races, but I don't know if it's just a flash in the pan. I just don't know.
Yeah.
So my gut says Alonso is going to be the only one that could do it.
Yeah, I agree. And we've been saying all year, outside of Checo and Max, he's the next most logical winner on the circuit. That it's just going to be if one week Red Bull has a little bit of a hiccup, I think Fernando will pounce. We obviously got to see qualifying, see how his car is. But if he's up near the front, it's always interesting when he starts second because he's so aggressive. That there's even third, at the green flag, he may try to cut some guys off and get up there. But I agree. I think it's going to be hard for Verstappen to not win, so it might be another double Red Bull podium. Last year, Sergio Perez had a failed gearbox in this race, so he was out, finished dead last. So Carlos Sainz led 17 laps. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Ferrari? They haven't been very good at all, have they?
No, I think the biggest thing they'll do this year is probably what they just did in Le Mans and win that 24-hour race.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, with your boy Antonio Giovinazzi.
How about that? That's unbelievable.
Out of nowhere, the guy surfaces. So, Chris, what do you think? Got any questions for Sam about the Canadian Grand Prix? How you can make some money? What's your daughter Emily say? She got any words of wisdom?
No, she. We haven't talked too much. She's been busy with her schoolwork and working, but I don't know. I just anytime I have questions, I usually just text Sam or when we bullshit a lot on the phone. But I just hope you guys both win some money.
Yeah, it's tough to gain. It's tough to get profit in this. You got to almost hit like two things. It's almost like hitting a parlay. You got to have, exact outcome or two guys in the top 6 or two in the top 3 or yeah.
So how many F1 races have we had this year? About maybe 10, 12?
No, I think it's less than that. I think it's maybe like 7 or 8. Does that sound?
And how many times has Verstappen won? All but maybe 2 of them or 3?
He's won all but one.
Didn't Perez win?
Perez won.
Perez won the second race at Saudi Arabia.
And then Max won every other one. He won 6?
7 races so far. Yeah, he's won 6 of them.
Okay, and Red Bull's won all 7.
Or actually, excuse me, he's won 5 of them. Perez also won in Azerbaijan.
Okay,
and they're both
he won twice. Yeah, Yeah, so I mean, it's his domination. So yeah, I mean, unless you're trying to put together the exact outcomes or double Red Bull.
Well,
podium.
when you guys are looking, and I'm looking at these drivers, and I'm familiar with some of the guys, but you know how we back in the day with NASCAR, you know, you might have like 5 or 6 guys that could possibly win the race. Everybody else is like an also-ran. Yeah. So you got Hamilton's capable, right?
Oh yeah. Both Mercedes guys are capable.
Okay.
Him and George Russell. And then Ferrari was the second best team last year. They're not this year. And then but you have the new shooter, Fernando Alonso, is on a new team this year. And, and they've overperformed Aston Martin.
Yeah, because they'll run these races at these odd times, and I forget it's on, and now whether it's you or Sam or anybody, hey, who won the F1 race? Oh, Verstappen again. You
basically see those 7 guys listed on that page are literally the only 7 guys that could win this race, and that's a stretch. Mm-hmm. It's probably more like 2.
Well, then something catastrophic would have to happen.
It's not that they're they're obviously capable. It's just something has to go wrong for them to be able to be capable.
Because the Red Bull is so superior right now.
It's disgusting. It's
so, Chris, disgusting. You're not going to turn it on and see. Let's see, Alex Albon winning or
Pierre Gasly.
No. It had to be, and everyone would have to die almost for him to win.
Seriously.
I mean, it's Zhou Guan Yu. Although Sam, I'd like to see some of these guys actually drive the Red Bull car and see how good they are, because some of them are really good drivers.
It's funny you said that. I was thinking about that today. I saw another article about McLaren.
Yeah.
And I'm just so sick of. I don't think Lando Norris is a good driver.
No, he must not be. They've been terrible. They're the most disappointing team to me this whole year. They're more disappointing than Ferrari, because they actually were in contention last year to be top 5 cars almost every week, and a lot of times both their guys running up high. Garbage, absolute garbage.
Well, let me ask you guys this then. What is it? And obviously, you have to be skilled to be able to drive these cars. But is it more Verstappen's talent and ability to drive this car, or it's his team and his equipment? Or I'm sure it's probably a combination of both.
I think it actually is a combination of both, because Perez would be the top driver if it wasn't for Verstappen because of the equipment and his experience. But Max Verstappen, his reflexes are so incredibly good compared to the other guys right now. Just put him with the best driver with the best car is kind of where we're at. Do you think that's the case, Sam?
Yeah, definitely. And also, like, Matt, remember that controversy a couple weeks ago when they lifted that Red Bull car up and they were looking at the bottom floor? It's like whatever engineers and mechanics Red Bull has, these other teams don't really have it. Right. So, like, as great as a driver he is, as long as you got the smart people with the money.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
So they don't have like a mechanic for Middle Creek Garage working on it?
They got like 60 people that travel with their party. I mean, it's incredible how much like one guy's responsible for every little square inch of that car. Fascinating stuff, but we really would like to see it get a little bit more even playing field. It would be a lot better for racing, but
yeah, it's been brutal this year, to be honest.
Yeah, it hasn't been great. It hasn't been great from an F1 standpoint as far as the action on the track and that things are going to actually be competitive or anything like that. So I don't know. We can live in hope, dream, and hope that someday it's as good as the IndyCar circuit. So
they should almost start the race and have Max wait like 30 seconds.
Yeah, a handicapped start for Verstappen. All right, let's jump over to IndyCar, which is a little bit more competitive circuit right now as they head up to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin here at Road America. Joseph Newgarden won this race last year, and he probably will be a formidable guy to win it again. I think he's won twice there in the past, so definitely a contender. Alex Palou finished last year in this race, but he's won it, I believe, I think he's won it twice as well. So the top 2 guys in the points this year, ironically. Thoughts on this race? Is it a 2-man race? It probably isn't. I think there's probably a lot of guys that can win this, but just thoughts overall in the season thus far between these 2 guys, which I guess they're kind of the championship front runners. It looks like Palou at plus 140 to capture the title, Newgarden at 4-1. What are your observations thus far?
I think that I don't know. This was tough. This was really tough. It is like, to me, it's like a six or 7 car race to maybe who can get this. it's just like Rossi is good.
Yes.
Eriksson is good. Pillow, Newgarden, Dixon. I mean, even Roman Grosjean's finished well there, but, he might crash himself out.
Yeah.
What about Graham Rahal?
Yeah, I got a Bobby Rahal dealership about half a mile.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
He might be working there at the end of this year.
He should be. He was lucky to even get in the Indy 500. He got a gift there.
So then he sucks.
I mean, he's racing off his dad's name. But most of these guys,
he'll be working there with Stingray.
Yes, Stingray Robb. What a stud he is. I think this will be a good race. The odds aren't up yet. They got to qualify first, so I couldn't really give anybody. But we'll have the picks for you guys posted on social media for the weekend when Sam gets me his final plays. I had guys circled here. 3 guys outside of Newgarden and Pillow are going to be the favorites. I recognize that. But I thought Rosenquist was interesting. He had won there before. Scott Dixon's won there 2 times. And Alexander Rossi, a former winner there too. Those were the top 3 guys that I had. But I agree with you. I thought Grosjean, Eriksson hasn't had a great year, but can never overlook him. He's on a good team and he's got strong equipment. And like you said, Grosjean, I don't know. Colton Herta's ran there okay in the past. Pato O'Ward's kind of been a little disappointing this year. He hasn't been quite as good, but I don't know. What are some dark horse guys that you're looking at to take a shot with this weekend?
Honestly, I don't have like too many dark horses when I was looking at the numbers. It was just like the main guys like Dixon. My 3 that I have written down here are Dixon, Rossi, and Eriksson. For some reason, I think Eriksson's been strong this year, and I think at the Indy 500 he did get a little fucked, which I did love to see them do a running finish, but the way they went about it was odd.
And he was pissed too.
Yeah, and he is it's a contract year for him. It's up after this year, and he hasn't signed anything with Ganassi, and he's been strong, so he just has things to prove, and there's money out there on the table, so I think that he has no reason not to run strong. Right.
What are your thoughts on your boy Scott McLaughlin?
Man,
where's he at right now?
He's had a disappointing year. I think he finished like 7th last week, and I don't know, man. Those Penske guys. I mean, Newgarden's good, but McLaughlin's definitely had a drop off.
Yeah.
I don't know if the talent has caught up. I don't know if there's just more talent, but he's definitely had a disappointing year.
I agree. So if you got the gun to your head, who's your pick this week? Eriksson?
I think so, yeah. I think Eriksson's my pick. Husky chocolate.
There you go. Husky. And I'll probably go with Rosenquist as my top one. Chris, what do you think?
Well, dark horse, I like Takuma Sato.
Yeah.
Nortec ODT.
Hey,
Chris,
he's a 2-time Indy 500 champion.
See?
I'm telling you, that's not a bad pick.
Yeah. And he's good at tracks like this. He can do it. So, yeah.
And I also, where was that? Christian Lundgaard, Rahal Letterman Racing.
Oh, yeah.
Number 30.
Well, I don't know about him, but it's all right.
Now and then,
anything can happen. The Indy cars, at least you got a better shot. So we'll have our finalized picks up on the social. Sam, let's jump over to baseball now. Get your thoughts on the Buccos, the Oakland A's, the red-hot Oakland A's, in this terrible NL Central. The Pirates are still, in a decent spot despite not looking so great. What do you think?
I can't believe the Pirates are in first place.
I know. It's hard to imagine, isn't it?
I know. And I don't think they're good. I know that. But they're in first. So, I'm a positive guy. I'm 0-3 at Games Live this year, which is great.
Yeah, how about that? Every time you send me a picture, you're there, and it's like they're getting beat in a tight game. And it's like, God damn, they can't score enough runs for you. You saw them. The Mets, was that the most recent one you saw?
Yep. I actually saw Verlander over 6.5 innings was plus money tonight, and they're playing the Yankees, I think, Subway Series. And they stink.
2 teams that aren't very good, if you ask me.
Oh, bad. Very bad. But the NL Central, I hate to say it, the Brewers or the Reds, but the Reds scare me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I told Chris I think the Reds and the Cubs are more live than the rest of the teams. Because I think if they can just figure it out, I feel like their young talent it can get them excited enough they can rattle off some wins. The Reds are playing really well, and the Cubs, these games against the Pirates are big. If they can take these games, last night's was a big game, and now tonight we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I think the Pirates will be up and down. They're going to go on little streaks here and there, and maybe they just stay in the mix because the division's bad. But I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of separation from anybody in that NL Central.
Well, Sam, what do they have a plan for Contreras? Because he's been so awful lately. I mean,
I think they took him out of the rotation. I think so.
They moved his ass to the bullpen.
But what's the reason for his demise? I mean,
I don't know. I have no clue.
I don't know if he's a head case, but I mean, the dude's got some mean stuff, but he just can't put it together.
He's got some mean stuff, but it's like we got some pitchers that are in AA and AAA.
Yes,
pitchers not, fielding position players. They just won't call them up, and you see, like Chris, when we talked on the phone, the Elliot De La Cruz home run. You call up these young guys. I mean, Henry Davis is he's gonna be 25 when he's making his debut.
Yeah.
And that's too. I mean, that's to me. That's, and I shouldn't say too old, but that's later in his development. Like you would think that he would be ready by. Well, now I guess he's.
Yeah, I thought they were going to try him out in the outfield too.
But I think right field, and then the other kid. Is that what they're doing at Indianapolis? I think right. If Andy Rodriguez catches, then Davis will either DH or play right field. I think because they both guys they need him in the lineup to hit. But I mean how many times can you watch fucking Austin Hedges bat?
Oh, my God.
Jarrett's favorite player.
I sent Jarrett a video. Austin Hedges has 3 catcher's interference calls this year. 3.
Yeah.
I was listening to the game on the radio driving, I was fucking screaming. If you see Jarrett next time, tell him to show you the video.
Yeah.
It's one of the most mad moments I've ever had at a Pirate player.
Jeez, and that's saying something, too, the way that things have gone recently. Oh.
But it's like, the other option is Jason Delay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if old Schulte's got much to work with there behind the plate, but I don't know.
But what's the holdup?
Money. They don't want to pay these guys. Start the clock on them.
Get an extra year of service.
Yeah, got to get that service. I don't understand the point of the service if they're not actually using it.
I think that would create so much excitement. And that doesn't mean that those guys are going to be successful. But I thought if you bring those guys up, maybe because their pitching, their starting pitching is kind of thin. Is try the Quinn Priester. Yeah, he's dealing.
There's a lot of guys that are dealing. Just get some new life in the clubhouse.
Well, if they go on like a losing streak right around the time the weather gets good for permanently for the summer, they'll do something to help with the ticket sales. They always do that. Got to get something cooking.
Yeah.
I told Jarrett this was a crazy prediction. I don't know if David Bednar is going to be on the roster at the end of the year.
No, I don't. We said that a couple times. I think he'll be dealt. They'd be stupid not to move him because they're not quite ready to win yet. They should move some of those pieces, whatever they have that's valuable to somebody. And Santana, does anybody want him? Like just some veteran guys.
And we've seen this over the years. When you get, after the trade deadline, or you get down to, as the season rolls on, and teams that feel they got a chance, they'll fucking overpay.
Oh,
they'll overpay for.
No question about it.
You can get a haul if Bednar keeps pitching that well. I mean, they could get.
I think they should consider trading Mitch Keller too. I mean, I know he's taken a little bit of a step back, but I'd move him if they're not going to sign him long term or whatever. I'd move him. There's teams like Texas. They're going to pay. They're going to pay $1 zillion for people. I mean, they'll overpay because they've lost some pitching and they need some pitching. The Mets need pitching. Mets need a lot of things. There's a few guys on the Pirates lineup that actually would play for the Mets. That's how bad their lineup is.
Yeah, it is. And it's like you try to build around Bednar, and it's just you can never build around a relief pitcher ever.
No, you can't.
If we're not winning, I know it's like not rocket science, then you can't. He has no purpose.
Exactly.
He has zero purpose.
Yeah. If he only enters the game like 30 times a year, like what do you? I mean, how good can he? How much can he help you? And
I wonder what that's like though. On a guy on any roster that's always a subject of trade talk by the deadline. And how that weighs on you. So, and he hasn't been in Pittsburgh that long, but like for someone that has maybe been within a city for 4 or 5 years and to think, well, shit, I might be traded by the end of the week. I'm going to have to take my family with me, and I mean that's got to be tough. I mean, and you know these guys.
The only thing that makes you compensate for it is the cash,
a lot of cash,
the pile of cash,
right?
And the fact that your agent will probably do all that shit for you.
And I'm sure there are some guys that can't wait to be traded, depending on who they're playing for. Like, because I mean, obviously the Pirates 3 games over 500, but you know, perennial losing, God, that's got to just wear on you. So horrible. I guess trades. To a better situation, obviously you'll welcome that, even though you got to uproot your family but that's business side.
That's business. Yep. Sam, thoughts on the conclusions of the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals? Not too eventful, those series.
They were like I mentioned before we started. The broken sternum for Tkachuk is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not.
How did he get that? What happened to him?
I saw he got hit either game 3 or game 4. And he came back, whatever.
Yeah, that was that game that he left and he scored again. Yeah, and they won in overtime.
Yeah. Broken sternum, said he couldn't tie his skates, couldn't do anything.
Yeah. How long do you think an NBA guy would be out with a broken sternum?
They'd probably cancel the game.
A couple years, yeah. Well, Zion Williamson broke his own sternum from eating too much.
Christ. Yeah. He's gone.
Yeah, the pretty disappointing final series, to be honest, for both, unfortunately. But
well, Sam, let me ask you this, and this was a subject, a debate that I read and would listen to guys talk about, that Vegas had won the Cup in only their 6th year of existence. You know, they make it easier now for these expansion teams to be good right away, and that was their second finals appearance, wasn't it?
Yeah, played their first year against the Caps.
Yeah, the very first year, which, I mean, although I did read that they said Vegas basically just pulled the wool over a lot of teams' eyes with that expansion draft, and they said a lot of GMs from other teams were just stupid.
Oh, they outsmarted them. So,
right,
hey, don't get mad at them.
No. Well, I didn't realize that until I read up on it, and they were.
And honestly, Seattle did all right, not quite as good, but they're pretty good too. They're set up to be,
and that was their second year, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, they're on the right track.
I guess my point is, you see all these franchises still have never won, and the Penguins sucked for years before they won their first one. It's like Vegas fans are spoiled. They don't know what it's like to endure, you know, 4 or 5 years of sucking.
But I will say this: like, the modern Penguin fan is spoiled too. Our fans have become like children about it. The team, like, they don't understand what it was like when we had Dick Tarnstrom and these guys before we had Sidney Crosby. And then before that, Chris, when you guys were going and my dad was going, and before they just when they got Mario, like, these fans now are spoiled. But yeah, you're right to a degree. But I don't begrudge them that. I mean, at least it's better than the Flyers winning, right?
Well, yeah. Hey, you still got a Yanni Laukkanen jersey? You used to wear that. He was on some bad teams.
So.
You remember having it, though?
I have a signed John Sebastian Giguère.
J.S. Giguère.
Wait, J.S. Giguère or J.S. Aubin? The guy that played for the Penguins?
Giguère never played for the Pens.
Because Giguère was the guy for the Ducks.
Yeah.
There was John Sebastian.
J.S. Aubin, I think, was the Penguin guy.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think now, whose fucking autograph did I get?
What if we got J.S. Giguère's autograph on J.S. Aubin's jersey?
Yeah.
That would be all
right.
It
might have been the same day I met Matthew Barnaby.
Oh, wow.
Maybe that's who it was. Maybe I'm getting my names mixed up. Yeah, I think you're right.
Well, great nonetheless, those were great times.
Yeah.
We had, J.S. Aubin and Ron Tugnut.
Tugnut.
Jeez. Yeah, good times ahead. Well, what do you think of the Penguins? They got Jason Spezza today, Sam, to help in the front office.
That kind of threw me off a little bit. Yeah. Definitely didn't see that coming. But, like, Dubas has to do some serious work.
That's what we were saying earlier.
He's got a tough job.
Matt, you hit the nail on the head. We don't know, Penguin fans, what's coming. Like, I'm ready. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, but it needs to be able to be good again. Mm-hmm. So
right, what we've had is such an outlier here. It just doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And if they beat the Caps in 18, the year that the Golden Knights made it, honestly, the Penguins probably would have won the Cup again. They probably would have won 3 in a row. Yeah. So I mean, and they've been one of the teams that actually did 3 in a row 2 times. They really could have. Their '93 team should have, And then in 18, I think if they beat the Caps, they absolutely would have won. But
what do you guys think? They keep talking about that one of the main jobs he has to do is shore up goaltending. And then you probably read they talk about Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah.
Try to get him because he's not signing.
He's going to be expensive, though.
I know.
I don't think he'll.
They said he's a workhorse.
Their track record in Toronto when this dude was there, they never paid for a goalie. Like, I mean,
right.
Unless I don't think he signed that. What was the one guy they had? Erickson? Wait, no. The guy that ended up going to Carolina. What the hell was his name? Freddie Anderson. Yeah.
Freddie Anderson.
Yeah, so I think he may have gave him a half-ass contract, but they took Matt Murray and they signed that guy from another guy from one of the Canadian teams that they got as a backup.
Well, but you know, like who the hell was the goalie for the Vegas?
Well, it turned out to be Hill towards the end, but the other guy got hurt. So yeah,
but I mean,
it's just a hot guy. I mean, that's just like Murray winning 2 cups. I mean, who saw that coming?
I guess their point was what I was reading. It, you know, they build such a strong team around a goalie who was, I mean, obviously he had to be good to win the cup, but like he's not a household name by any means.
I don't have an issue. Maybe you guys disagree, but I don't have an issue paying for a goalie if he's worth it. Like Vasilevsky, I'll pay him $10 million a day almost. Like he's that good. But how many guys out there are worth that right now? I just don't want to see him. I think it's the worst thing they can do is overpay for a guy who's not that good. I would rather him just bring up scraps and use it until they figure it out. Don't overcommit too soon. But that's just me.
I agree. You said it perfect. They're either gonna overpay or Tristan Jarry's gonna be in net. I think those are the only two options. Unfortunately,
they say the Oilers really want Tristan Jarry. So I don't know why. Because I think he's from up there or something. But they can have him. We'll trade. We'll give them for McDavid. How about that? Yeah.
Or if we can't get him, we'll take Draisaitl.
Yeah. Now I do think it's funny that Jack Eichel's got his name on the cup before McDavid. Now I think that's pretty funny because they had a little rivalry going there.
What did I saw that? Well, he started with Buffalo, didn't he?
Yeah, but he was the second pick behind McDavid.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think he probably has a little bit of So anyway, all right, Sam. Well, anything else on your mind from a sports perspective here this weekend? I know you got a little baby on the mind though, as you're getting ready to become an uncle here any minute now.
I've checked my phone more this week for my brother's missed call than ever. But yeah, we're gonna give a huge Bettor's Last Stand shout out from Pennsylvania to DeAndre Ayton because he won a ring before Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. I love that Chris Paul does not have a ring.
Wait, who? DeAndre? Who?
You mean DeAndre Jordan?
Jordan, there you go, yeah.
DeAndre Jordan, not DeAndre Ayton. He'll never get
I don't know if Ayton, he's going to have trouble getting a ring anytime soon. But he won one before Chris Paul.
But DeAndre Jordan won the ring before Chris Paul, and that just warms my heart.
Well, that's good. That's awesome. Yeah, how's your brother holding up? Is he ready to go?
Every time I say, Max, like, you ready? He's like, yeah, I'm ready. He's like, I'm just waiting. No, that's all he says is I'm just waiting. It's just
even keel. All right. Nothing flusters him too much, so that's good.
Hey Sam, so if you get to tomorrow's your Friday, right?
Correct.
Because you work for good for you. But are you going down with Bonnie, depending on when you get the call, or?
Yeah, I mean, I told Max, somebody's gonna have to watch the dogs if he's at the hospital with Warren, so I'll probably just hold the house down and.
Oh yeah, especially if she has a long. What the hell is that?
Labor,
long labor. Yeah.
Well, let's hope for the best. We look forward to getting the news from you, buddy. And hopefully, maybe next week you're an uncle on the show.
I hope. Hopefully, next week you can introduce me as Uncle Sam. So
sounds great. All right, pal. Good talking to you as always. We'll touch base this weekend, I'm sure. And thanks for all the insight.
Yes, sir. I'll talk to you guys.
Good night, Sam. Thanks.
All right, that was Sam EP from Upper St. Clair giving us his great racing analysis, mixing in some baseball, some other stuff, hockey, basketball. He's a wealth of knowledge.
He is. He's sharp.
He's always excited to be on the show. So if you have any questions, comments, observations about Sam's role, contact at thepioneeringpodcast.com. We love to pass the feedback along. I'd like to get him on the radio show sometime too when he's able to, when the schedule permits. But anyway, that is winding down here on Bettor's Last Stand. A couple things that I wanted to mention just really quickly before we shut it down. Fanatics Sportsbook, they're getting ready to launch their apps in some of the states. Actually going to be one over in Ohio, Massachusetts, Tennessee, and Maryland. So be on the lookout for those if you're an Ohio person. maybe another book to give you some nice free money. And then we had the big news a week or two ago, LIV Golf and the PIF basically buying up the PGA Tour. We'll talk more about that. I also thought it was funny, Chris, that Monahan guy's got to take a leave of absence now. Imagine that. He's probably going to spill his brains out here soon. I mean, come on, this dude takes the money, turns his back on the tour, and I don't have an issue with it, but I have an issue with the way that he handled it. He denounced it, and then he basically looks like a complete chicken shit, and now he's claiming he's got health problems.
When I read that, I thought, boy, that's really
very
either convenient or ironic. So he's going to take a leave of absence.
Yeah, about $200 million in his pocket, probably, or at least. But yeah,
that was wrong.
Yeah, he can F off. So that's a huge thing. As we see how this is going to transpire. Again, U.S. Open this weekend. Jameson Williams of the Lions said he didn't know that he couldn't gamble on games.
I mean, either he is so clueless or he's a blatant liar. Because don't they? All these guys.
That's what people say in the management, like they go through. But then again, I'll be the first to tell you, like, and you probably maybe have to do this for your company. Some of those online trainings, it's like you just click through them. But I mean, I mean, come on, like somebody's got to give you a little bit of a heads up, like, hey, man, you can't do that. But I don't know. There might be more of these guys getting suspended. There's a lot of stupid people out there, and there's a lot of naive young kids. I mean, there's a lot of them that we know. I mean, just kids that don't really have an idea what the hell the real world is and never been taught. It's hard to believe with all this incredible talent and the people that have been around them that no one has educated them enough to make good decisions. No. But, hey, they're there with their hands out wanting to help them and tell them where to go to get the big money, but they don't want to tell them how to preserve their future. Or
if they are advised and they probably have the mindset that, well, I'm a millionaire. I play pro sports, and they're not going to do anything to me. Yeah, they just basically just
think again, right? To me, it's just stupidity. It is, and integrity is a major issue now with sports. We have this story out just real quick. The International Tennis Integrity Association has suspended chair umpire Morales Chirata, who is found to have manipulated the scores for betting purposes by incorrectly entering scores into the handheld device at the ITF events in 2021 and 20. So what he was doing is he was putting in the wrong scores to try to help either his own wagers or people that had wagered for him to so if there was a match where it wouldn't really get noticed, like a guy's beating a guy 6-2 or 6-1 or 6-love, he would either shave a game off of one guy's score or put it on another one's to try to either cover totals or spreads or whatever. And it was on an ITF, which is a lesser tour, so it's not getting noticed. But on the court, the players are seeing, they know who's winning and whatever, so it's not affecting the match as far as like a winner or loser. Right. But you're just saying okay, Chris, in the paper, you when you played for Central, they had you in the paper for 19, but you really scored 11 or something. You know what I mean? So it was. But we still won the game, right? You still won the game, and so it wasn't affecting it. But so that's how close that stuff is, and tennis odds are very close because the algorithms are very good on the tennis, and with the data points that they have now, you can get these games, the plus and minus games, they're very close. They're tough, so it makes tennis tough. It doesn't mean you're always going to win or lose, but it really is around the number a lot. So 1 or 2 points or games here or there could definitely switch your bet, do an over from an over to an under to an over, or a guy getting plus 5.5 and he loses by 6, and you give the other guy one more point or one more game, I guess would be the better term. But so
kind of a baffling that he's only been suspended.
Yeah, I know that it's got to be permanent suspension. But I mean that's what they said. But who knows? There's some sketchy things going on, sketchy bodies that oversee these. But tennis is an easy sport to manipulate a little bit if you have people not paying attention, because it is a one-on-one type thing. You don't have a team environment where there's a lot of other people involved in looking on what's actually happening. So, and I'm sure you could tank in tennis. Guys do it. I mean, you'll see guys literally tank sets when they're going to fall behind 2 or 3 and they want to save energy because they know they're going to need to try to win the next one. Yeah. You'll see guys just literally, Nick Kyrgios, he would serve the ball out on purpose just to get to the next set because he knew he was going to lose that one. So, yeah, you got to be careful of that. Always some vulnerabilities there. And then one more betting thing that was interesting. The NCAA did a survey. Now, the only thing I didn't know about this was when I was reading about it, the guy that wrote the article I don't know if they were polling athletes. So when I read this, I was like, is this NCAA? Because the NCAA wouldn't be polling regular students, I don't think. Mm-hmm. But so I'm taking it this was athletes, but I don't know. NCAA survey shows that 67% of students living on campus are bettors and tend to bet at a high frequency. So that means they're betting a lot. 41% of the students have wagered on their own school, which I'm pretty sure they mean student athletes wagering on their own teams in some regard. 35% of them have used a campus bookmaker, which would be an illegal bookmaker. So this is all stuff that's interesting. But legalized betting is safe. They're finding things out. They're finding these anomalies, and people who are trying to cheat the system legally are getting caught. So that's a good thing. So you want to continue to bet with legalized bookmakers and not go to people, down an alley somewhere like in the old mobster days.
Yeah, I still think that we'll just keep hearing more and more stories about, I just like the Jameson Williams thing and NFL guys, and just because the money.
Well, and that's a perfect example. In old days, I'm sure NFL guys could bet with bookmakers illegally, but now that they're betting in regulated areas, they're getting caught. So, they're seeing bets coming in from the facility, and they're meaning like, okay, that's illegal. So the bookmakers are doing a good job policing it. So people thought, oh, well, the more books there are out there, the more shenanigans there'll be. Well, there was always going to be these kinds of actions, but now they're getting caught because they're doing it with legalized bookmakers.
Clown baseball coach?
Yeah, the guy from Alabama. Yeah. And then I guess the guy at Cincinnati who may or may not be related to that incident, but ironically, that guy worked at Cincinnati, the guy from Alabama, and he just resigned. They haven't said it was because of betting, but I put 2 and 2 together on that. Yeah. And then finally, some good news. FanDuel Sportsbook Bettor hits a $50,000 parlay. He had Argentina to win the World Cup, the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, and the Nuggets to win the NBA championship. $100 bet won $50,000.
That's awesome.
On a 3-teamer.
That's
so
awesome. Congrats
to that, man. And then quickly, just let me give you an AFL roundup really, really fast as we conclude the show. I'm going to go through these games really quickly. Things are starting to get kind of interesting in the Australian rules football. Collingwood, who was the top team, they got beat last week. The Melbourne Demons beat them in a close match. If you were following our picks on social media, you had that winner. The Demons won outright. They were catching like 2.5. They won the game outright in a very close game. Port Adelaide right now is playing the best of anybody. They have won 10 in a row. But a huge game this week. They're 11-2. They got to play Geelong. The Cats have not played well. They're 6-6, and they got to get it together. I think this is going to be a really good game. It's a Thursday night clash, or actually Thursday morning clash, 5:40 a.m. Yeah, so I'll be looking forward to that. Should be an incredible game. Right now, the Power and the Cats are the 2 top teams in my mind. You can get them for the exact matchup in the grand final at 26-1, which is an awesome bet. I think Port has been the best overall team that I've seen, but Geelong, if they could kick it in gear, they were the best team last year. They won it all last year, and I still think that they are capable. Friday, Sydney at Brisbane. Brisbane minus 27.5, total 171.5. The Lions have lost 2 in a row. They come back home. I thought they were over this thing where they couldn't win on the road. Well, not so much. They had 2 terrible losses back-to-back weeks. They lost to the Crows, Adelaide Crows, who aren't super horrible, but then a loss to the Hawthorn Hawks, which is just unacceptable. They're 27.5-point favorites this week. I'll be playing Brisbane, and I like the over. They score a lot of points at home, so they'll be singing Country Roads, I'm sure, in Brisbane, celebrating those goals by Charlie Cameron. Saturday morning, 2:35 a.m., Fremantle at GWS. Fremantle, 2.5-point road favorite. 167 the total. I lean GWS here. They play pretty good at home. I'm not big on Fremantle. I don't think they're that good. I like the game under, though. That's my strongest play there, under the 167.5. Saturday morning, St. Kilda and Richmond, 5:25 a.m. Eastern Time. Richmond off 2 wins in a row, unlikely wins on the road. They're minus 5 or 4.5. The total 158.5. I couldn't pick a side on this. I probably slightly lean St. Kilda, but I don't like the way they've played lately. They've kind of hit the skids. I do like the game over 158.5, so be going with that. Gold Coast Suns, that's what shirt I have on right now. The Suns are getting hot. They've won 4 in a row, or 4 of their last 5. They're now 6-6. They're right on the outside of the playoffs. We gave you that bet back preseason for them to make the playoffs at a really good price, so they got to get in the top 8. They are on the road at Carleton, and Carleton is a team I'm not super convinced is that good. They're laying points, Carleton is, so I'll be taking the Suns plus the 3.5 on the road. They're
going to end their winning streak.
Yeah,
they're going to beat Gold Coast.
Well,
that's going to be.
They may. Carleton, who knows? We'll see. Chris is tipping Carleton.
Yes.
So all right, he likes it. And then Sunday, the final game of the week: Western Bulldogs at North Melbourne. There's a big number
there.
Yeah, Western is pretty good. They're a team who's right on the cusp of being like in the upper echelon. They're not quite there, but they're a good enough team, and they'll probably smack North Melbourne around. North Melbourne's been a little bit, pesky, and they can be pesky at home. So I'd be a little leery about laying the 30.5, but I definitely like the game over. I think there'll be a boatload of points scored in that game. So we'll go with that. And you can find these picks on Twitter, on the social media. I'll have them to Jub. We'll put them up graphically in the Instagram and Twitter, and then I post them all on Twitter as well. So big weekend ahead. Chris, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you filling in.
Welcome back. And I think we'd both rather be in Ocean City. But
no question about that.
Vacations never last forever. So
nope, unfortunately not. So that'll do it here for us on Bettor's Last Stand. If you haven't had the Pine Room Lager, get out there and get it. Drink it up. Kegler's Party next Friday the 23rd. If you're in the area of Morgantown, stop down, drink, eat wings. And then I don't know if IC Cabs will pick you up down there, but if you're drunk around here in the Wheeling area, be sure and give IC Cabs a call, 304-232-1313. Check us out on the radio all week long, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. WKKX, we're in the WVLY studio until further notice as the renovations continue. We're excited about that, so listen to the show, call in, text in, email, get a hold of us at the Pine Room Studios. You can find us everywhere. Contact at thepineroompodcast.com. All right, that's it for Matt and Chris. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the U.S. Open. Enjoy what other sports may interest you. Baseball.
And win your bets.
Yeah, win your bets. That's the most important thing. Hope you enjoyed Bettor's Last Stand. We will see you next week.
Good night.